You've certainly noticed that the coin itself is in the shadow. You might want it to be lit and the shadow to be only projected from the coin. To do that, you can go back to the coin itself, select the light occluder 2D, and expand the occluder resource. By default, it is closed. You can uncheck the box so that the occluder itself is just a line and it's not going to cast shadow to shade the coin itself. The issue having the shape not closed, the light occluder will have a gap in it. Going back to the coin here so that the shape is closed, and in the visibility category, make sure that the light occluder shows behind the parent, like so. And by doing so, you will get the shadow also behind the coin itself. Also, you can see the occluder in the editor right now, but if you play the scene with F6 in the game, you will not see it, as you'd expect. And as we set the light occluder as a child of the coins, the shadows are moving and updating with the coins. The only exception is when we take a coin, if we have that bouncing animation, you may see, depending on the way you animate it, as you fade the coin, you might not get the effect you want on the shadow, because the coin becomes transparent and the shadow disappears instantly. Okay, so let's say we want to add now projected shadows from the tile map. So have a small shadow here projected on the ground, but also if I add some tiles here right in the middle close to the light. So let's add a floating platform right there. We have to go back to the tile set to do that. So you can select the tile map, click on the tile set resource in the inspector, and expand the bottom panel. Select the tile set, I'm going to select the first tile, and go to the occlusion tab instead of collision. And we're going to select the create new rectangle to create a rectangular occlusion shape. Click in the cell, you're done. You can save, fold the panel, and then you will have, let's see, hiding, showing the tile map. No, it's not enough. So I will reload the level 1 scene, right? So I've had to close and reopen the scene for this to take effect. Now, when you draw tiles, they will project shadows on the ground. Now, we want to do the same maybe with the player and the enemy. So let's go create occlusion shapes on them as well. Let's open the player scene and we will add a light occluder 2D as a child of the player sprite. Just Control A, light occluder 2D. I'm going to create a new occluder polygon 2D. Select the create vertex tool, press Q to go back to the select mode where you can draw these points and start with a round corner of my character. So again, I'm trying to make the shape a little larger than the character itself. The smoothness of the shadow will take care of avoiding any artifact on the character itself. So you can be generous, you can make a fairly large shape around your sprite so that you avoid artifacts in general. All right, I'm going to make 3 or 4 vertices per round corner here. I think it's enough to have a good roundness to the character's shadow. Save, go back to level 1, and you don't have to play the game. You can select the player, press W to move it in the light area so that you can see the shadow projected from it. And now we can do the same with an enemy. So select the enemy, open the scene in the editor by clicking the corresponding icon, and same on the enemy sprite. Create a light occluder 2D, create a new shape. Unfortunately, we have to draw every point on the enemy, so it's the same. You use the select mode, create new vertices, and you start clicking, clicking, clicking. I'm going to make the shape quite fast. I'll let you do this cleanly on your side. right now we don't have a tool to, for example, draw these shapes with symmetry. We have to draw every single point. But with that, you can select an enemy, W, click and drag to move it into the light area. Let's press F6 to play the scene, and you can see now how you get nice lighting on the character. So I haven't set the occluder to be open so that you get that slightly lit area on the edge of the character, giving it some volume, and you get it shaded in the middle, and you will get the same thing on the enemy there. Now, you can add as many lights as you want to a given level of your game. So lights are going to be part of your level design. I'm going to make the window a little smaller so that I can make it stay on top, and that way in the level I can start adding a few lights. So I'm going to select my light 2D. I'm going to create a container here, a node that will hold all the light 2Ds. So I'm going to create a new node with Control A, and I want it to be, well, let's start to use node 2Ds for that. I'm going to place the light under it, and now I can press Control D to duplicate the light and place it at different places in my level. So when you use that either always on top, or if you have two displays, you can move that window to another display. And while you are working in the editor, if you duplicate the light, move it, you will see the shadow and the lighting effects update in real time. So I invite you to play a bit with that, to have some fun. And with that, I'm going to say thank you kindly for watching. Let's see one another in the next lesson.